As a big fan of the Chaos aesthetic, the Knights of the Brazen Throne are undoubtedly one of the coolest looking units in the game in my opinion, and they are exceptionally expensive. However, if used effectively, they certainly can pay for themselves. In general, I'm a big fan of cavalry that have mass modifiers right now, and the Knights of the Brazen Throne do have this. On their charge, they'll get this little buff that, they get extra 50% mass, which is significant. This replays from Highland Archer. He's up against the Skaven, already getting blasted by some Warp Lightning Cannons. So let's get to the builds quickly. We've got these Knights of the Brazen Throne here, alongside an Exalted Hero of Khorne, also on a Juggernaut. Got a Herald of Khorne leading the way on foot. Light armor, but high damage output, with the Hellforge host as his bodyguard. Pretty cool kind of hero and lord retinue here. We've got 3 Bloodletters through the center, again getting shelled, Blood Shrine, and a single Forsaken of Khorne. Along the flanks here, it looks like some Fleshhounds already pushing out in Vanguard and Furies as well. For the Skaven, coming in for a nice defensive position here, Avalanche Mortars, Rattling Guns, 2 Warp Lightning Cannons, 3 Rat Ogres, and some Clan Rat Spears to protect the back. He's got some Warp Grinders for a hard snare, Clan Rats, and the Blight Scabs, Plague Pact, Plague Monk Sensor Bears, who I'm a big fan of actually in this matchup. Their high DPS, magic damage, armor piercing just makes them good DPS against any Khorne targets, especially those demonic units though, if they get a good charge onto them, having good charge bonus themselves at 37. Of course, nothing tops Bloodletters, Exalted Bloodletters here. What are they? Yeah, they're something charge bonus, 36, so pretty similar actually. Skaven are going to unleash quite a bit of AoE magic damage in the front line, though, and the Bloodletters, being fairly flimsy, do fall apart pretty quickly here. It's not looking great for Khorne initially, as they've taken a lot of damage on that initial approach, but they're already kind of moving to overload this one side here. Right now, the Skaven player isn't reacting very much. They're still just kind of keeping this main line facing in this direction. Right, and the Spears, I would say, are fine to keep in a more defensive position in the back line, but I would definitely kind of reposition these Clan Rats to try and engage. Make sure you get these Plague Packs in here. They're super important. Go after any high-value targets, or maybe just mirror them and wait for these guys to charge in. These Knights of the Brazen Throne, the Bloodletters have eaten all the shots for them, so they've got in here and are now in position basically completely untouched. Now they're going to get their devastating charge in here, get that nice mass buff. And let's check in to see if we can catch it still active. Yeah, it's with that mass buff, they're up to 2475, which is absolutely huge. The mass is a lot more important than it previously was for cavalry especially, so that just immediately crushes those Clan Rat Spears, that terror. And, yeah, they're going to do significant damage. The Plague Pack were sent in to this other flank here to clean up, like, the Fleshhounds and such. It would have been a good response force quickly to these Knights of the Brazen Throne, although Knights will have the downside of just low model count here, which is going to lead to them having to fight Rat Ogres and Clan Rats and a ton of stuff all at the same time. There's no support for them. The models will get kind of surrounded. Nice side-shotting blast, too, by that Warp Lightning Cannon. But the Hellforge hosts are going to try and get to said Warp Lightning Cannon and shut it down. Some nice synchronized Skaven beheadings going on over here, as these Clan Rats get absolutely blended, and some nice friendly fire incoming as well. Oh, yeah. Kills friend and foe alike, as is the Skaven way. Going to do some fairly devastating damage, actually. But again, these Khorne units, because their leadership is so high, even as they get very tattered, they're going to still be exceptionally dangerous with, like, the Hungering Blades, for example, for the Hellforge hosts, or this Thunderous Charge coming off of cooldown. You can see the recharge timer there as well. They do need to stay in melee long enough for that to fully recharge, so probably leave them in melee longer than you would a traditional shock cavalry, but still be the Khorne champion also getting in here. Absolutely butchering the Rat Ogres. Some big overgrown rat skulls to hang on the wall for sure. But, I'm sure that pleases Khorne, no doubt. And the poor Warlock Master here on foot. No way to escape this. Going to get 2v1'd by 2 nasty armor-piercing Khorne characters. And that will be a very short day for him. No pun intended, of course. Chaos Dwarfs having been recently announced, being very much kind of in vogue right now. I might talk about the Let's Plays on another day. But for today, just wanted to get back to what we all know and love, some nice land battles, and these Hellforge hosts, the Knights of the Brazen Throne, still holding out quite admirably. They, again, managed to terrify away the Skaven Warlock Master here, but there's still plenty of Skaven units on the field, and there's very little left for Khorne. We see a few of the Knights of the Brazen Throne actually bugged out there as their mounts have died. That's interesting. Haven't seen that bug before, but it's a new one. Anyway, Locus of Wrath being popped here. Unfortunately, the Knights of the Brazen Throne, only 3 of them left, do finally rout here. Hellforge hosts, being demonic, are probably going to fight to the actual last demon here. But the Blights, Scabs, Plague, Pack still have a lot left in the tank. You can see tons of these green rats here with their flails. And that magic and armor-piercing damage is going to be very dangerous, even for the characters. I mean, as they start to be able to surround the Exalted Hero, as the Hellforge start to evaporate, the hero and the Herald, the nice book title there, both going to be at significant risk here. But I don't know, the Herald actually, as he's kind of out on the flanks here, might be able to thin out some of these numbers. Oh yeah, I love this matched animation. Definitely one of the coolest skill animations in the game. Just grabs a dude and impales him and throws him down like he's just the trash that he is, to be honest, especially in the case of Skaven. But the Hellforge house actually managed to hold out for a disturbing amount of time, as is probably typical. Shouldn't be terribly surprising, actually. Enough to pretty much finish off the Plague Pack here, and the Herald and the Exalted Hero both still have a lot of HP left. We look at what's left on the field for the Skaven, there's really nothing that can deal enough effective damage to kill, especially the Exalted Hero with that 130 armor on his Juggernaut. Just absolutely massively tanky. I mean, the Plague Pack certainly, again, have the armor piercing. Rat Ogres also have decent armor piercing, but it's just not enough. The leadership is too low at this point. And while the Juggernaut here for the hero does not cause terror like the Regiment of Renown does, still causes fear, as does this demonic bro. And I mean, he is fully juiced. He's Revel in Slaughter. He's got his Hellblade fully charged up as well for an extra 20% AP. Locus of Wrath putting him at 105 melee attack, so just quite strong. That's the headless rat just flying through the screen. I love this game sometimes. Actually, very often. That's why I do this, in fact, is because this game is just awesome. Oh, man. And that should be it for the Skaven. We might fast forward a little bit as these two heroes kind of clean up the hordes of rats that remain. But yeah, there's no hope left for the Skaven of winning that at all. So the Skaven player is going to throw in the towel there. Big thanks again to Big Papa for sending this in. And in general, I would say the elites for Khorne performed pretty well. And the Knights of the Brazen Throne in particular. I mean, I know those bloodletters paid a heavy price on that frontline advance, but putting these guys kind of up and around the rim of that terrain there also would have protected them greatly, even if the Skaven had tried to focus them. And in general, their usage there to just collapse this entire formation obviously was quite effective. You know, a lot of these Khorne units suffered pretty badly. The Khorne Forsaken actually pay for themselves, which I find pretty interesting. And in hindsight, it's tough. I might actually use more Forsaken than Bloodletters here. It's hard to say. We can actually look at that here in just a second, kind of compare some different parameters. But Fleshhounds, of course, attacking the flanks do quite well also. Blight Scabs Plague Pack, like I said, love them here. I might even take like 3 Censer Bearers just to combat the Khorne Demons potentially in this matchup. It's going to be risky, but it'd definitely be fun. Avalanche Mortar is also crazy but devastating. And the Warp Lightning Cannons provide some pretty nice pressure. I mean, that magical damage, again, direct fire, high damage, great against demonic units. Really like that in this matchup. So that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.